Welcome to Fool's Gold with Cara Cordoni. The views and opinions expressed on Fool's Gold do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast, its host, or its producers. Any content provided by our guests, contributors, or authors represents their own opinions and experiences and is not intended to malign any religion, group, club, organization, business, individual, or entity. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fool's Gold, where we explore spiritual seeking, coercion, repair, and reform. And my name is Cara. I am your host. And today I have with me Julie Anderson. And I'm so excited for this conversation. Julie, you are basically, I think, one of the most well-known anti-MLM content creators at this moment, and I have admired your, creativity, your humor, your, uh, directness in what you create. I aspire for your courage. And so, yeah, let's talk about, like, the journey that turned you into who you are today, and maybe introduce yourself a little first.
Sure. Hi, my name is Julie Anderson, and I was in MLM, multi-level marketing, for 5 years. I was in the multi-level marketing company called Mon8, and then I also did a multi-level marketing coaching cult adjacent group. It was called Rank Makers, and I was in both of them pretty much simultaneously for the full length of time, and then for the full 5 years. And then when I exited, I began speaking out right away, and it was thank goodness because I had so many other anti-MLM content creators over the years were already out there on
Right.
social media, so I was able to come across them, and thank goodness for their work. I just wanna shout out every anti-MLM content creator on social media. This doesn't even include the people that over the decades that were trying to speak out and raise consumer awareness before there was social media. So it's really, you because they paved that way, it's enabled me to be able to speak out as well.
It's so true that there's I see it with my journey into activism that there were decades of people calling out these harms before I got pulled in, and now I'm speaking out, but it is on the efforts, the voices of dozens, hundreds of people that, came before. And now you're one of those people that is, inspiring others, so there is also that positive ripple that happens. Yeah. So how'd you end up in a, what do you call it? It's a corporate cult? It's a consumer
I
cult?
call it a commercial cult.
Commercial cult. Yeah, so
Yeah.
how did that start?
Well, I was looking for a job, and I had tried this shampoo that I saw my friend was posting about online on Facebook. And it wasn't an ad, it was her on her Facebook feed. So this was in 2017. I wasn't really on social media. I didn't own a cell phone. I just was, I'd very, just kind of go on there once in a while. And I thought it was so out of place, didn't suit her normal behavior. So, but in my mind, I thought this gives it more credibility because this is so out of the norm. This must be something interesting. And she had this picture of her hair that looks so great. And she's got thick, long hair. I mean, her hair is like the hair of dreams for many people. She's always had thick hair. Like that's it. But it looked great. And so I thought, oh, I got to buy some of this shampoo. This sounds amazing. She wrote a little testimonial as well. And I really like this shampoo and conditioner. But I didn't understand I had entered into the first stage of a commercial cult, I just signed it as a retail customer. So I was just buying these products at the retail level. And I don't know if your listeners or your audience knows there's usually 3 degrees like to get into one of these things.
Mm,
And sometimes it starts off as a retail customer. So you're paying full price and shipping for the products. Not every MLM is the same, but that can kind of be a
right.
general rule of thumb. The second stage is then, well, why don't you sign up for some kind of auto ship? You're going to save money. You're probably going to save shipping. So you're getting a discount. And then the third option is then you sign up for a bigger discount and then you can make some money on the side
Mhm.
if you want. So I had already been purchasing these products. I love them. I noticed a really big difference in my hair. People were complimenting me on my hair. And I refused to become this VIP customer because I didn't want anything to do with an auto ship program. But my friend who I had, bought this stuff from on Facebook, she kept messaging me like, "Oh, there's a flash sale going
Mhm.
on. You could get this satin pillowcase for Mother's Day for your mom." And I'm not interested in this. And then she had said, "Well, you've already placed 7 orders. You would have already fulfilled this 3 flex ship," that's what they called it with Monet, requirement that you'd have to do 3 of these flex ships in your life before you were kinda like free. You didn't have to do it anymore, you could just order it whenever you wanted. She says, "You would already have fulfilled this, and you would have been saving all this money and shipping in this time." So I thought, "Oh, wow, okay, well, then that makes sense." So then I signed up as this VIP customer, and then in that time frame, I'm trying to find work,
Mm.
and I'm unable, I'm having a really hard time, and then I had a interview, and I thought, I don't know, is this gonna go well? Like, I thought it went okay, but I didn't get the
Mm.
job, so I was just devastated, and I'm just at my wit's end. I'm like, I don't know what else I can do. Like, I'm sending out all these resumes, I'm trying to get in somewhere.
Mhm.
It's hard to even get, like, a job at Walmart at that time. I'm like, "I'll take anything." You know, when people say, "Oh, I would pump gas," I was trying to get
Yeah.
anything. I couldn't find anything.
Wow.
And so then I I can't remember where it came, the idea to do this as a business. But it was like I had no other choice, and I thought, "Well, I'm people are already complimenting me on my hair. Maybe I could sell this stuff." And I didn't understand at the time that I wouldn't be buying the products and selling it out of my bag if I go to the gym. I didn't understand about, like, the whole thing about recruiting at that time. I thought, "Well, this might be a blessing in disguise because there's no other option, and maybe this is a sign." So that's how I got in.
Sounds like you were vulnerable, you had a need, and it sounds
Yep.
like, kinda that unrelenting there's something about getting worn down over time, whether it's the marketing, the outreach, like, just the persistence, right? And I think that's part of what they teach. Like, I'm wondering what happened once you found yourself, you know, believing that this was your business.
So, one of my, like, pastimes, like, up to that point was doing, like, triathlon, long distance triathlon, Ironman distance triathlon, and I'd done 18 of them over the years, like, about over a 13-year period, and that doesn't include all the other distances that I did, like sprint, Olympic, and half
Wow.
Ironman. So, I love doing that, and so when I had this mindset of being coachable,
Yes.
that if I'm gonna do something, well, then I'm gonna go all in. And I didn't need to be told to go all in because that's just what I do. If I'm gonna do this, okay, well, then I'm gonna do this. So when you sign up with Monat, at the time, I bought the biggest product pack because it was called Overachiever Product Pack. It's a business in a box, and you only get one opportunity when you sign up to get the best deal ever on these products. And everybody, this is what I was told, and everybody who doesn't sign up with the biggest product pack regrets it. Of course, I didn't know at the time that my upline was getting a hefty chunk of that
Ah.
purchase. And so I purchased that, and then I was added to all these Facebook groups. It was amazing how many Facebook groups. So my upline's Facebook group, her upline's Facebook group, Monat Market Partner Official, Monat Canada, Monat US. It is just so many
Wow.
Facebook groups, and everything has different information, and you're expected to go in there and know what's going on. And at the same time, I'm learning all about these ingredients in each of the shampoos and the oil. And I'm thinking, okay, well, they must know what they're doing. This is a business in a box they've sent me. They've got this workbook to fill out, kind of a memory jogger. Who do you know who works in a travel agency or whatever? Who do you know that you'd love to work with? Who's on your dream list? And you're supposed to write all these things down. And it felt so corny at the time, all of these exercises and prompts. But I thought, "Well, this is a company, they must know what they're doing, this must be a system that works, so I should just follow it." So I did everything that you were supposed to be doing. So I watched all these videos in this one Facebook group that I was in, explaining the compensation plan and that you should start, making content and doing an
Mhm.
unboxing video on Facebook, which then quickly led to me making content every day, like across social media platforms, creating a separate business page. So I'm taking it like, well, this is a business. I remember asking my upline though, do we buy a business license from our community? And she said, no, like, well, it's, and I remember I wasn't really given an answer and I couldn't understand if this is our business and we're called home based business. Why aren't all of us purchasing business licenses? And that was something that always stuck out to me.
And now you have the answer.
Yes. Wasn't your business after all, never was.
Right, right. It's kind of the propaganda, I mean, language control, which creates thought control. Yeah, the language sucks you in. They tell you you have a business. They tell you that you, need to be coachable and that you need to invest in your development and have the right mindset because it's all about mindset. It's not about anything else but mindset. Yeah, and, like, so you got rolling though because you were committed, you did the work, and it started being successful for you? Like, it
Yes, and I was one of the first people in my community that was selling Monat, and I
okay.
had looked at one of the community Facebook groups, and I'd seen a couple of posts in there from, like, months ago, but I'm like, "Nobody's doing this like I could do this, like, I could hammer this." Oh, and the obnoxious cringe, like, looking back, oh, it's so embarrassing. So I went whole hog. I thought, well, I'm going to approach this like I do training for triathlon. Like, what am I going to do? So all of this effort that I would be doing in training, like physical training, I just started to do it for this business. And because I was one of the first people in the community that was really pushing this out there, and people don't know about MLMs, they're still thinking, well, Avon is nice, Mary
Mhm.
Kay is okay, it's not that big of a deal. People were curious. They would say, well, I'd have a picture of my hair just like my upline did, and I would be cryptic about it. "This has grown my hair. I'm so excited. People are complimenting me when I go to Walmart. I'm just so blown away. If you want to, get some samples, send me a message." And I had a ton of response. Now, most of my responses wasn't from people that I
Mm,
knew. It was from, like, the cold market, as they called it. The content that I was making, it was working. Like, I love to create content, which was one of the things that helped me get out. I thought it was so cool that I could make something and it would land with someone and they would just reach out to me. The very odd time somebody would just reach out and buy. But on the whole, like, you'd have to have some kind of interaction. So in my community, I had people coming over here and I'd wash their hair.
mm,
And I just have them bend over
yeah.
the kitchen sink, and then I had a pile of towels. I would put one, like, around their shoulders. I know I do what I'm doing, but they say, "You don't have to, because anybody can do this business." And I'd say to them, "Okay, this towel is the oh shit towel. If something happens, there's water coming, just grab it and put it on your face," because I thought that'll
Right.
protect you, you know? So I'd do the whole thing, and then I would sit down and I had printed out all this crap. So I printed off all the ingredients in the product list of the products I'd used on their hair. I said, "You can go home and make your decision. Here's samples of what I used, and these are the 3 ways to purchase." Oh, man, and people signed up. So I had a lot of people signing up for the discount,
Mhm.
the big discount, the 30% discount, and then they can also sell the products.
Right.
So I got, like, a little trophy because of this. I was seen as this, "Oh, you're hitting the ranks." I earned the first leadership rank, which meant I'd recruited people, and those people were spending money and also recruiting people.
Mhm.
No idea what the hell is going on here. There's that term in MLM that so many of us are familiar with, which is called ignorance on fire. And that's how you're supposed to behave. You don't need to know anything, just go out there. And I did it just like so many other people. Ignorance on fire. And and so because I was, they have all these bonuses as well in the first 3 months of Mon8. Things may have changed, but at the time I was in it, that's what it was. So as soon as you signed up, you had the rest of that month, and then the following 2 months to make all these bonuses. And what I've since learned is that it just falsely inflates what your income could be. So
Oh,
a lot of people, if you're in an area, you could actually you could hit these bonuses until market saturation comes along, or people just are in your area are like, we don't want MLMs. But that's why I believe these things are in place. This system is in place because I was so excited. I was getting email after email after email. Every time a VIP would sign up, congratulations, Julie, you've got a new one. Congratulations,
oh,
Julie, somebody just signed up as a market partner for your own business. Be sure to
oh,
onboard them, which meant them adding them to all these different Facebook groups, telling them to train videos. At one point, I even had made a binder and I'd printed out all of the products with the ingredient list. I'd given like different prompts of why Monade is better
mhm,
than Rogaine, all the stuff that I had found in these groups. I put in a binder and I gave it to each of my market partners to help give them a head start. And then they duplicated that. Then they were spending their own money to do the
right.
same thing. And like, it's just so brutal.
Well, so it sounds amazing. It sounds like it was working. What could go wrong?
Oh yeah, so I hit all these bonuses. So now in Monet, and they always make this really complicated, but they give you different benchmarks to hit, to strive for. And then you get so much like celebration and brouhaha when you do. So the multiple emails, like every time you enroll a customer or a market partner, and then you're getting all this praise in the Facebook group. They take a picture of you, they even will post it on their own profile. This rock star, she's totally crushing this business. She's reached this rank and now she's going to be getting more money and just working so hard and is so consistent. So there's all this praise, all this
Right,
attention, and then and then you feel like it's justified because you're putting in so much work. And
right.
then with Monet, the thing is you want to build a Mo neighborhood in the first 3 months. It's so stupid. So instead of a neighborhood, a Mo neighborhood, and it's four of these VIP customers to one person that signs up for the business market partner. That's called a block. You get a bonus for that. If you build 3 blocks, you get a bonus for each block, and then for the 3 blocks, you get a bonus because it's a Mo neighborhood. So I got all I mean, it's so much. It's so much attention, it's so much confusion, it's so much excitement, and then I'm getting a pin sent to me, and I'm getting my name in a magazine, and I think, like, I'm really accomplishing something, like, "Look at this money, look at this check." And it didn't even occur to me that after that 3-month period, all of those bonuses disappear, as
Oh.
well as the people that are gonna be signing up because it's like it runs its course.
Wow, so they kinda get you to the top of the roller coaster, so to speak, and you're like, "Oh, I've climbed so high, I've done so much," and then you kind of fall off the cliff, like it
And exactly, and at that point, for me, and I believe for many people, you're already hooked in, and you believe that that drop off is solely because of your mindset. You're
mm.
sabotaging yourself, you have limiting beliefs, your business only grows as much as you do.
Wow, so then you're trapped, like, the only way
Yep,
out is to keep trying, to redeem
yep.
yourself, to manage your mindset, to improve your magical thinking or whatever, or just suck more people in.
Yep, and they'll have all these different trainings month by month, week by week in all these different Facebook groups. Do you wanna strive to hit the next rank? Join this group. Only serious runners allowed. No excuses. So then it comes that real abusive, what they frame as tough love coaching, but it's just these people don't know what the hell they're doing. They're at a higher rank,
Mhm.
which somehow bestows upon them leadership skills, which it just doesn't. It's the whole thing is so messed up. And I would join these groups and I would do all these activities and I would notice I was doing more activities than a lot of other people were. And I was better at making content. Like I noticed that right away. But because I wasn't making money, like I wasn't attracting people, they're like, "Well, you're doing it wrong. There's something wrong with you. You need to join this other challenge
Ah,
group. You need to do this." And meanwhile, my team, they're struggling. They're not able to recruit people and then they're being told that there's something wrong with them. They don't want to join a group that is, like, only serious runners, and if you miss 1 day of activities, you're kicked out. And,
wow.
like, it's getting all embroiled, and so I'm like, I care about these people, And at the same time, I'm like in conflict with this feeling of you need to be coachable and you need to do what you're told because that's what I did in triathlon. I didn't have any excuses. I would just keep showing up for years on end.
Right.
I made it make sense.
Right. Right. And so was it like a slow insight where you're like, "My team's struggling, something doesn't feel right, I've done everything I know how to do."
There was a moment there were moments throughout where I'm like, I don't like how people treat me and
Mm,
how they treat their teams. And I remember I had said, uh I forget what it was that I said to someone. I was, like, expecting them to do something, and I was so ashamed, and then I can't do this, and I remember we all went out to lunch, and I said, "I'm so sorry. I don't care if you know, work this business or what you do or don't do. I care about you as you are," and I feel good about that, that I recognize it,
mm,
because that was in the early days of being in this thing. I didn't leave for another 4 years, and I was able to do that, so I had some kind of minor wins, though, although I was an obnoxious asshole to members of my team without even realizing it. And when those moments occurred, you know, I was able to apologize. And then, you know, that's part of my mission of speaking out where it's like just knowing like this is just what happens to everybody. Because then people in this thing, they do the same thing that to people that they recruit and to their customers. So it just keeps going on and on. So I'd have these brief moments of insight. But I would rebel by not doing what other people were doing, like what my upline was doing and my upline's upline was doing. And I really do hope to see them get out one day. We won a cruise, won a cruise. The only reason I earned that cruise was because my downline was
mm,
purchasing things and they got their team to be purchasing things. And I remember my upline and my upline's upline, they were posting on Facebook, like, I won this cruise. It's so great. And then I'm such a great leader. And I made a post that was very different. I said, thank you so much to my team for doing this. Without you, I wouldn't be here. And it was true. And their feelings were like, I should, why do you get to go on this and I don't? Like, I did all this work. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Like, it is weird. Like, there's not even an option for you to just buy and go. And I remember when I was on this cruise, I had actually a really good time, but I was brainwashed as all get out. It's such a weird
I
thing to
know.
have those both feelings inside you where I'm like, "Oh my god, it was fun." I would never go back to that time because it was so messed up and cult, but man, I had a good time. But I purchased all these, like, little gifts, like, I think I got each of them a purse or something that as a thank you gift. And as far as I know, I think I'm the only person that did that. Now there might be, you know, other people that did something, but I knew, like, I'm like, why aren't the team being celebrated so much? Why isn't the team, like my team, given this reward of leadership training? Why am I not being able to access it? Because they would hold this out as a carrot as well. If you want to grow your business, there's all these secrets, but you have to be at this higher rank. And I thought, well, what is the point of growing a leader if you're only going to restrict the training to people who have already achieved the leaders? I'm still not realizing that this is all a scam. I even started a podcast. I don't even know if I've talked about this. And that was my first episode. I was ranting and raving how unfair it was in multi-level marketing. Like, this is just doesn't make any sense. Why don't we have everybody should have access to this leadership training. This is all that needs to change and everybody's going to be winning.
That reminds me of my mediation efforts in like a nutshell, right? Like you have these moments where you're like, you haven't really gotten the whole picture, but ignorance on fire applies in lots of directions, right? Um, and the cycle that so many of us go through that like, oh, I see a problem, I can raise the alarm, we can make it better, not understanding that we're in a closed loop system that is designed exactly as it needs to be and we're just churning, like we're just not relevant to that system.
Yep. And around, I think it was in 2018, Mon8 started to have lawsuits.
Oh,
And that's when I lost a lot of customers. My team lost a lot of customers and
right.
market partners. And Mon8 put out a website called The Truth About Mon8. And we were directed to send anybody there with any questions. Don't engage with any hate on the internet because anybody can write anything bad about a company. And that the person that had spearheaded this smear campaign was a disgruntled market partner whose dad was a producer, which was why this was going all over the news. And I believed it like everybody else. And because I had had really good results with my hair. However, I started to see people that in my team, they weren't having good
Ah.
experiences. And I was like, okay, we got to troubleshoot this. There's some combination of products that we've got to find that is going to work for you. And of course, that wasn't the case. So then, so this is after the 3-month period. The roller coaster's going down. It's a struggle to like recruit people. You can get somebody every now and then, but it's tough. And my team is tough. People that had signed up with me. And then you've got these lawsuits going on. So then everybody's like, I don't want anything to do with this
Mhm.
company. So in that frame of mind, I thought it was only natural because my business wasn't growing. I needed to get specific multi-level marketing coaching. And that's when I came
Oh.
across, I think it was a targeted Facebook ad from the coaching cult called Rank Makers, and I signed up with that.
Oh, perfectly positioned. They throw it up and it's like a spike. And I see that also with, ISTA. It's interesting. They will have, facilitators or assistants will offer their coaching afterwards, and if you've had a bad experience, oh my gosh, maybe you just need to hire some coaching packages with some of these people, or, oh, right, and, oh, you and your partner are having trouble, just hire the coaching, and so, it's like, you there it's hard to find your way out when they're offering you that the solution is here. Yeah. So how did that coaching go? How was that?
Oh man, I got this one. This is what actually ended up waking me up from multi-level marketing. This was so you're already in one like commercial cult. And then I joined this thing. And this thing, so these MLM coaches, it's the perfect business because they're already getting people that are brainwashed. They're already in an MLM. They already think that they suck. There's something wrong with them. They're just easy
Uh,
pickings, like fish in a barrel. And I go into this group, there's even more just behavior, information, thought, emotional control, even more daily activities, tuning into these daily live videos, which the leader might have in this group. Then he would have different challenges with additional Facebook groups. And then on his business page. And I was let right in there with everybody else, watching all these videos, taking notes,
wow.
and buying more courses. Eventually, I ended up purchasing to get into the inner circle, which is going to, at the time it was sold, that you would get to a six-figure income in your business. It's like this is the way to do it. You are going to take your business seriously, and you need this additional coaching. It's gonna unlock everything. You're with people who are already, have
Right.
achieved this, which it wasn't true.
Right.
There were people that were coaching that weren't doing that. They were hardly getting paid. They were getting paid pennies anyway as being coaches, which eventually came out. But within this group, this is when I had already decided to start doing a live video every day because I had heard the top income earner in Canada for Monat was doing a live video every day, and she did it every day for 6 months. So I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna do it every day for a year." Of course, now Monat is, like, spreading like a cancer, and people aren't going near it. It doesn't matter how much activity you're doing, it's not gonna make a difference. So I'm starting to do this. I'm doing a live video every day. I join Rank Makers, and then it's like, you should be doing a live video every day. And I thought, well, great. I'm already doing that. But then there was this structure that you're supposed to be following: intro, question, content, call to action. And then later on, it would be a CTA delay, which would be, say, at the end of this video, it'd be like, say, thanks everyone for tuning into like my podcast. And if you'd like to get some, join my Patreon or whatever, follow this email or whatever. So somebody sends you an email, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to say, I'm away at my desk right now, but when I get back, I will send you the link. By the way, are you interested in non toxic, gluten free hair care? I'm not even joking. So this is, and then so what you're also supposed to do in these live videos, this is what we're coached to do in Rank Makers. This is excluding all the other activity that I'm doing with Monat and all their Facebook groups, all their training, going to events. Rank Makers also has all these events and all this training included in these live videos that you're supposed to do, it's not just about your company. In fact, it's supposed to be about anything else but your company. It should be about rank makers. You should be telling about how good the training is and how it can also explode your network marketing business. And you can also talk about everything under the sun. You could talk about things that you don't know. And then and then you're just having this conversation with people. You just have to Google it. 7 ways to, fight celiac disease. Just Google it and then just say it as if you're some kind of authority, and then you say to them, and by the way, having nothing to do with this video, do you struggle with split ends? Send me a DM with hair now for my free PDF guide on how you can fix your split ends. I would be creating little giveaways every single day. And I did this for 3.5 years on top of the sending out messages, cold prospecting messages, annoying spam. Hey, Cara, I know we don't know each other, but I see that you live in Florida. I'm looking to expand my business in Florida. Would you be open to taking a look at what it is I do to help people just like you make some extra income online? If not, no big deal. And I worked my way up to sending 200 of those out a day, never mind the following up. So that was just within rank makers. So there was so much activity in this, and I just kept putting more and more money in. It seemed to be not a lot of money at first, maybe 19.99 here, 3.97 there, 4.97, 297, and then getting into the inner circle coaching, which it was just the same crap that we all saw in the Facebook group Rank Makers, where there's all these recorded videos where he'd do the same training. It was just the same stuff, but it was all his coaches that were hardly getting paid anything that were saying the same things. And they would get you to do even more work. In Inner Circle, they were like, well, if you really want to get big results, you need to take big action. Massive results equals massive action. They had something called the Weekend Warrior Contest. I mean, it was obscene. It was like a bingo card. And you were supposed to prospect like 10,000 people. Like, it was just so stupid. Do all this stuff. I remember, this is so funny. It's just jogging my memory. You were supposed to go to the grocery store and take a picture of yourself with a stranger with a piece of fruit, a banana or eggplant, or oh my God. So and I'm like, what does this have to do with growing your business? Meanwhile, because I'm making content at this time, I'm already on TikTok and I'm making content out the wazoo. I have no problem making a fool of myself. This isn't going to grow my business. And I didn't do this Weekend Warrior contest, and a lot of people didn't. And I think somebody had actually kind of complained. They were like, well, what's going on here? And the leader, Ray Higdon, he made a whole training, like shaming everybody in the group. He's like, if you don't want to grow your business, if you don't want to be a millionaire or whatever, well, this isn't for you. How dare you criticize my coaches? Like, he lost his mind, which they do, right? When they start getting called out.
Tantrum of some form or another, and it's just to reexert control, right? Like, "You're the
Yep.
problem, we're not the problem," and
Yep.
that dance of, either pull them in or push them out, right? We don't want
Yep.
that. If you're not here, we're gonna push you out, and a lot of times when we push on people, what do? They push back by coming in deeper, like,
That's
"No."
exactly what happened, and so many people in this you're paying like $800 a month
Wow.
for this coaching at the low end kind of thing. It got even higher, and so people are paying so much, and then they're being spoken to that way, and it's exactly what you described. People were just, like, more tightly knit.
Yeah. So what happened to you?
So I had been on TikTok. I saw it come out. I have no idea. Oh, it was Gary Vaynerchuk. I was following Gary V. It's all the usual suspects in this realm, right? And I came across something. He's like, "You got to get on TikTok." And I'm like, "Okay." No, again, ignorance on fire. And I downloaded it. So this was in 2019, towards
Okay.
the end of 2019.
Wow.
So it wasn't brand new, but it was pretty new. And I was in my element. It was totally different than what it is now. It was so much fun. I was able just to make content and screw around, play, make videos, and not have to sell stuff and
Ah,
try to be in this structure of
right.
intro, question, content, call to action. And you have to do this, you have to I'm like, I'm just gonna be free. I'm gonna play. And then I'm connecting with other people. And I started to get a following. And like people were liking my content. And I started to really grow. And but within, when you're in a cult, you can only do certain things. So I was getting like these, I was like in these live videos because I was achieving success on TikTok by getting a following. There'd be these live video trainings with these references with how stupid TikTok was. It was ding dong. It's like Vine. It's going to die right away. You don't need to listen to anybody or follow anybody that is on TikTok. And I'm sitting there thinking there was hardly anybody on TikTok at the time. Like, surely to God, this guy isn't talking about me. Like, there's no way. But I found out he was. So over the years, he had also had these challenges that were called 14-day challenges. And I think I participated in 8 of them. So again, if you think of stacking the work with Monate, the work with rank makers, the work with inner circle coaching, with all these other things, they had goal guided power group. And then on top of it, 14-day challenges that occurred every quarter. That's like a 14 times 4 is a lot of days of your life spent just you're basically promoting this
Mm.
14-day challenge in rank makers. But part of this was well, the point of this was to go live every day. That this is if you're going live every day on Facebook, then you're going to attract people to your business. They're going to sign up. It's like mowing your lawn with a hand mower or an electric mower. I mean, this is just the way that you do it. That I was already making all these live videos. And for whatever reason, the very first time this thing started, that he had a pre-contest, and I won the pre-contest. So I then was held up as this kind of you get all
Right.
this attention. The person is like complimenting you like you've really done something. And then throughout these 8 challenges, I always seemed to place.
Mhm.
I mean, who's deciding what is good with it? It's just the disaster. This thing is so weird. And I would maybe get 3rd place or 2nd place. I was always getting money anyway, like $100 or $50, and then you'd get the honor of getting your video critiqued, where he would, break down, "Oh, you did this really good thing, but what you need to do is, like, change your cadence." It was such nonsense. On on top of that, it's important for you to get this background as to when this all came to a head.
Right.
Every Friday in this group, Rank Makers, we were encouraged to upload a video of ourselves dancing. And I did it. I did it every Friday. I never missed a day because it's like coming from a triathlon background, being coachable. I have an unnatural and unhealthy ability to just keep going. I'm like, "Though this is my superpower. This isn't bad. Like, I'll just make another piece of content. I'm already making so much. What's another one?" So because of that, I had kind of like this recognition and status in this group. Always these happy, friendly videos. People are feeling good when they see it. And then I'm encouraging them, like, good for you. And then also getting all this praise and recognition from the leader. And then now in this whole frame of TikTok coming, now people are starting to see that I'm getting success and I'm starting to give people tips. I'm like, "Hey, you need to get on this thing." Because it's about being in multi-level marketing. They say it's about telling your story. You're going to learn how to tell an effective story in 15 seconds or less, lickety split on this platform. You can repurpose this content everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want to go. They would give you at the time a trending song and a trending hashtag. So, like Facebook and Instagram, I had never seen the likes of it. So the whole point is to stand out. And I thought, like, why wouldn't you go on this? I mean, you could be learning just how to more effectively be like succinct in telling a story about anything, about a product before and after. There's so many different ways that you could use this. And people were starting to pay attention. So he didn't like that. I didn't know this at the time until it was, you couldn't deny it anymore. Like TikTok is like this behemoth and it's only getting more and more. And he had put out a call on his Facebook page, like, who should I get to like help train for TikTok? And people were like saying my
Mhm.
name. And I remember he had responded, well, somebody that actually has a business because I was so low in my rank of my Monate, but yet I had
Oh.
irrefutable proof. I got over 200,000 or followers over there. I'm like, well, must know something, right? So the pressure became so great
Oh.
that he had to ask me to do a training about TikTok, which I did. And so I did this video. I was standing in my bathroom. That's where I would always make my videos. I'd put my camera on the sink, and I'd put I had the ring light that I bought from the Higdon shop because, of course, you have to buy everything from the cult that you're in. And I made this video, sent it to him, and I just thought that I was going to get paid for this. It didn't even occur to me to even ask. Like, I had so much respect for him. I just had no I'm like it didn't even cross my mind. I'm like, "Yeah, of course," you know? So I send this, video to him. It's like I see this email go out a little while later, and it's like, "Oh, TikTok course," blowed up on TikTok or whatever. And as part of this, big deal, you're gonna buy these courses or this course, mine is included in there as a bonus. So he sold my content. I didn't get paid anything for it. It wasn't enough to, like, snap me out, but that was a big piece of just that how that unfolded
Yeah.
where it was he was wrong, and then he was behaving wrong, and then that led me to start questioning other things. Did you want me to talk about when I realized, like, I really started to realize?
Yeah, like, was there a breaking point, like that moment where
Yes.
we have the stomach flip and yeah.
Yes. It was in, I think it was in March, the middle of March 2021, and I decided I wasn't going to do a live video every day anymore. I'm like, "I'm just done." Because at this point, it wasn't just making a live video on Facebook. I was making a live video on Instagram. These were all separate videos. I wasn't
Wow.
streaming simultaneously. I was also doing a live on TikTok, and I was also going live on my Facebook business page. I was doing 4 separate lives every single day on top of prospecting people, on top of regular content creation in my stories. It's just it's mind-boggling to me the amount of work that I was doing. And so I decided, "You know what? I'm done doing live videos." And I made this little post on Facebook. And I remember my upline. It's like when you're in these things, people are just mean and petty and vicious, and it's just part of the cult. And I remember even at the time, I'm like, "Why are you being such a dick?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna make a post. I'm not gonna do lives anymore." She says, "Well, nobody's gonna care." Like, just one of those things that stands out. And but people did pay attention and they really did care. I got a lot of attention, and it was the next day or the day after that he made a live video about me. That was the daily training and how I succumbed to haters and that, like, I'm so weak, or I don't know. I didn't watch it, but I was getting tagged like crazy in my notifications, and I had people actually reach out to me. People that were within rank makers, like, "He's made a live video about you. I don't care what he says. I think that what you choose to do is." I'm like, "What is going on here? Why is this guy so upset that I've announced that I'm not making a live video every day? I'm a nobody. I'm on Facebook, for heaven's sakes." I'm like, "Thanks everyone for the last 3.5 years, but it's time for me not to make videos anymore." Why would there be a whole training about me on this thing? So in that moment, I'm like, "This is not right." That kind of did it, but it still wasn't enough for me to really get out. But I started to talk a lot of shit. Then I wouldn't go in the group, but I started to make content, and then I was getting more lippy, I was getting more brave, and then it was Lula Rich came out,
Oh,
and then I started to see more anti-MLM content. I went to, virtually attended Monations. That's what they call their big convention
conference,
that they
okay.
have each year. And I started to see more really weird religious manipulation, people being baptized, saying they came to Jesus at Monade. I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. And very quickly, it felt like a roller coaster where I was going faster and faster and faster, learning, oh no, it's not just Monade. Oh, it's all of them. Oh my gosh, what was I in with? Rank
Mm.
makers. What? And so then that was kind of like that. Woke up.
Yeah, I mean, so waking up is often really devastating, like, it hurts a lot, and a lot of us have mental health, implications. I'm wondering, what that was like for you when
Yeah. So when I was in Mon 8, and, like, this is towards it's kind of the culminating, I believe it was in that year 2021. Because I also neglected to mention it was after I stopped doing live videos, it was just a couple of months later that my dad passed away. It was sudden and unexpected. So there was a lot of things stacking up in that year. But Monade had come out with this product, these sleep drops. And there was me and there was 2 other people that I spoke with. It was like you had these like suicide ideation. It was the most bizarre experience I've ever had from a product.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe it at first. I thought there's gotta be something wrong here. So what I did, I took them again. It's like these stupid drops that you're supposed to put on your tongue or whatever. And I again, and I'm like, "Is there something wrong with me? Like, this is a nobody's gonna believe this. This is just really weird." But I did end up talking to 2 other people within my organization, and they had the same thing, and they were also feeling the same way. Like, "This is just weird. I can't believe it. There's something wrong. There's no possible way." When I told my upline, it was just, like, right over their head, not didn't it didn't care.
They didn't care.
It was like I was they don't care, and I get it, when you're in one of these things. But the starting to like, when I exited and I decided to start speaking out right away, I didn't understand the full magnitude of what MLM is, like, how widespread it is, why it even exists, never mind, like, just my participation in it, and, like, the people that I had hurt, and I'm terrified about the people that are still in this thing, and people that are still in rank makers, and so I've spoken about this. It was about 4 months after I left, and I'd already been speaking out, that I sought out help, like, I went to go see a psychologist because it just physically hit me one day, and I was out for a walk, and I literally fell to my knees. It sounds so stupid,
I
and
get
I
it.
said this on another interview, it's so stupid and dramatic, but it really did happen, and I sat there by the river with my phone, and I'm, like, looking for, mental health, and I sent out an email because I realized this is beyond what I don't know how to actually handle this. This is I've been a part of something huge. I don't know how to move forward with this. And I'd already learned, behavior information, thought, emotional control. I'd started to read through Ponzinomics by Robert
Mhm.
Fitzpatrick. I'd read Stephen Hassan's book, Freedom of Mind and Combating Cult Mind Control. I'd
Mhm.
read Yanya Lalich and Madeline, forget her last name, Taking Back Your Life.
Mhm.
I was watching The Vow.
Yep.
I knew all this stuff, and yet it still didn't like fully like hit until that point. And then I was able to go see a psychologist, and I approached it the same way that I had approached doing triathlon, the same way that I had approached doing multi-level marketing. I'm like, "This is gonna suck. Let's do it." And a lot of it did. It just entailed me blubbering a bit and working through the stuff, but I did it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like a betrayal, right? It's hoodwinked. It's your good, efforts, your good intentions, and your needs under capitalism to make money to keep going, and so, I know it's just so hard to imagine that there's people that know how bad it is, and then how many people like ourselves and you get in are just ignorant, well-intentioned, trying to do a thing and taken advantage of so cruelly.
You described it perfectly.
And so I know that as I've gotten further out of Vista, I've gone deeper and deeper into the history. Who are these people? What do they believe? How did this, come together? And similarly, you pulled the thread on MLMs from this one place. Can you give us a summary of like the scope of what you actually realized you were touching or yeah, the scale.
Yeah, it really all goes back to Amway, and that's the best way to explain it. And they have it's every MLM is just another version of Amway. M Sometimes people actually come from Amway and they start another MLM, but the lobby groups, the money that they just donate to politicians, they've had laws written in their favor. It's It's incredible. So they have an organization, a trade organization. It's called the DSA, the Direct Selling Association.
Right.
Keep forgetting the names because in Canada it's slightly
Mm.
different. It's like Direct Sellers Association of Canada. They have one of these in basically every country, and it's global. So if you think of how something that's so clearly fraud could be enshrined in law, protected by law, and a lot of people think, well, it's just like Tupperware or Avon. It's kind of safe and innocuous. Everybody that reports on it uses the same black and white and like old things of women having parties. It's like they're even saying the same kind of lie to make it understandable to people when it's better explained as this is just fraud, an endless chain recruitment scam that for some reason hits so many of us in this blind spot that we have about this, where you can have a product that can be excellent, it can work for a time, or it might work forever. It might be like Pampered Chef or Norwex or something that people really like. And they can't make the leap to seeing that, well, all that is just window dressing for a pyramid scheme. It's a product based pyramid scheme. It's just bizarre. So you start pulling on that thread, but then you're starting to explain to people, "Well, hey, look at this is a cult. This is a fraud." They're like, "You're out of your mind. My friend sells oils. I love these oils. These oils have done this, and these oils smell great, and I'm on this auto ship, and it's just great." Well, it's like they're defending the thing. They don't realize what they're part of. So you're not only up against the law, but you're up against this general acceptance. It's been so normalized, like, that it's just okay, and people that used to, come out and speak out, they would get sued into oblivion or just really intimidated before social media. I mean, it still happens,
Right.
but there's just so many people speaking out that you just can't, like, tackle all of that, that people just thought it's really no big deal, and if you just start pointing out, it's like, "This all goes to Amway?" I mean, it sounds nuts.
And I just learned recently Amway stands for American Way,
Yep.
and I think it was like 1978 or so, Reagan was speaking at Amway
Yep.
so when you say Amway like that, I don't think it's taken me a while to dilate and digest how big that is that there are laws against pyramid schemes, and there was a business almost identical to Amway, and they said no. And then the court case came up around Amway, and all of a sudden, the precedent didn't apply. This is different, blessed, special. And then it's like, oh, there's all these political leaders who are actually
Yep.
deeply embedded in this. And they got the law to protect them. And so now all the little rotten seeds, right? It's all, and so we've all been propagandized. No, 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 pyramid scheme over there, Ponzi scheme, fraud over there. But these are just ways that single moms who need part-time work are able to bring in a little extra. Why would you take that away from them, Julie?
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is such a good line. I'm so glad you brought this up because they're not actually making any money. Yet that is one of the first lines of defense that everybody in MLM and the MLMs themselves and the elected officials that represent them, they will trot that out. And their own income disclosure statements disproves it. So it's defending something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
An MLM does not, like, it is a pyramid scheme. It's defending a fraud, and it's using a statement that doesn't even
Th it
exist as if it's proof. So you're taking away children or like mouth or food from the mouths of my children. You're not making any money. You have not even sat down and tracked how much you're spending versus how much you're earning each month. That's another thing in MLM. Nobody is ever taught to do that most simple, basic, like, tracking.
With your business, but you have
So
no budget, you have no
no,
profit loss, like, we don't do it that way. We have your special
nope,
forms, how much did you order? How much did your people buy, right? And so there's
yep,
all these ways that it really doesn't set you up for even running your own business afterwards because 'cause you've been
yeah.
badly.
You haven't exactly, and they frame it they discourage you from tracking how much money you're making, and they say it's an investment in your future because when you're a millionaire, you're not gonna worry about all this money that you put in. That's what they say,
And
and
it's
they do multiple training on that.
right, and it's also the, like, act as if because there's the prosperity gospel that
Yes.
is baked into all of this as well, and so, I know when I was in one of the 3 MLMs I dabbled in briefly before joining other kinds of cults, um, that was a big piece of it is like, "No, spend the money," "Don't you have faith? Don't you trust?" Like, that you have to, overcome that resistance in order to prove to the universe or God or whoever that you're in it to win it. And see how you're holding back? See how and so you get kind of bullied, encouraged, love bombed, whatever, into a ridiculous mindset, like a literally self-defeating.
Yeah, and it's happening, like, you start to do it to yourself very quickly, and then you're in your new peer group. If you're in, like, I was in multiple at the same time, rank makers and Mon 8, and everybody's saying the same thing, so your world is shrunk to
Right,
this whole because you're so busy, everybody's doing the same thing. If you have doubts, you look to them and they have it too, but you're gonna keep, on this struggle, you're gonna keep grinding away and
right.
eventually it's gonna hit. So it's you've eliminated the rest of the world because most people are chased away because they're like, I don't want a part of this." They're barfing up the same stuff all over the place. It's clear you're just trying to recruit people into this thing. And the only people that are liking and commenting on your stuff are people in other multi-level marketing companies that want to support you because you're getting training from the same group they're in. And then maybe, hopefully, you could get recruited into theirs because we're all like looking at each other. I'm gonna get you next into mine. It's such a mess.
And so what are you working on now? So I mean, I know part of you speak out because you want people to wake up and get out and salvage their lives. And then also you've done some work on really looking at the structural issues, like how do we actually influence and change the law that's protecting of violent, fraudulent, treatment of people, disempowering people.
I've kind of, like, looked at this in stages, and it's kind of evolved as I've gone along. So the first stage of I knew I was gonna speak out, I felt like I had to, and I felt like I had a duty to. I felt like there was people that they're watching my content, and I owe it to them to do the right thing. It wasn't even a question. It's almost like if you see, I don't know, like a kitten that's gonna get hit across the street, you're gonna run out. You don't even think about it. You're just going to do that. It was that kind of thing.
Mm,
And I also felt this urgency to speak out too. And I know that other people have experienced this when they've left. They felt this same urgency to try to get the word out.
right.
I thought that if I made enough of a stink and I made enough content, that everybody would just stop purchasing multi-level marketing products and people would be like, I'm out of here. I still had no idea. But I felt like I had this duty also because I had somewhat of a significant platform on TikTok with over 200,000 subscribers, and I knew that would offer me some protection
Mhm.
and also like credibility and legitimacy in the eyes of people that I was trying to reach. And so my goal at first was I knew that I needed to like make as much noise as possible because I knew when you first leave and you have some kind of visibility and status in a group
Right.
that it can really cause people to start questioning things. I had like enough of people like eyeballs on my content that it could actually spread out to other people. And I knew from what I started to experience very quickly was I was just swarmed by everybody in multi-level marketing, it seemed. Every MLM, every network marketing company in the world, just the weirdest, creepiest, most vicious comments. They would follow me from TikTok to Facebook. It was so creepy. And I knew that by me making a bunch of content, which I was very good at banging out so many, so I could do it even more now, that it could encourage people to also speak out and to also have a safe public space for their comments to be and not to be swarmed and choked out by these people that are still in multi-level marketing. So I also like simultaneously I was ruthless. Like, I had set boundaries right away. If you are a cult apologist or you're in an MLM, I would just block and delete. And I had to keep saying it. And then eventually I moved on to Facebook and then Instagram and
Yeah.
YouTube. And I followed the same thing because it's not. I knew in my mind anyway, I feel it's going to take as many people as possible having their voices heard. And I wanted to help add my voice, add my efforts to helping people come out and speak out that don't have 200,000 followers or
Right.
subscribers and have some kind of like loosely held community where there's safety for them to just speak out and not have their voices completely silenced to and threatened and harassed. To have their voices be in the majority and to have the people that are in MLM, they're in the minority. They can go, stick with and do whatever they want to do. So that was my approach at first. And I feel right now that it's the landscape has changed so
Mm.
quickly in the 4 years that I've been speaking out. There are more like there's more safe spaces online for people to speak out. And I know that term safe spaces can kind of be like annoying to people, but it's really true. Like if you want to have people speaking out against being abused, I don't want my comment section to be flooded with abusers making apologies and all these stupid passive aggressive cult innuendo crap that they got away with. Like you're not welcome here. This is not your space. You got everywhere else. So that was my approach. And now I feel the it needs to be with the legislative changes or just public awareness, public scrutiny on why these things are allowed to exist. Now, there's people that advocate for legislative changes that want more regulations to make it safer for consumers. I'm of the opinion that regulating fraud is legitimizing it. When you have a scam or like if you have a Ponzi scheme and you say, well, we're going to make it safer for consumers, you're going to be making more informed consent when you can get recruited into this. It's a fool's errand. They're going to be emotionally manipulated. You're allowing the existence of this thing instead of shutting it down. So I think of it as it's a cheap way to avoid doing anything, but just like making busy work to look like you're doing something. It's actually not protecting consumers at all. It's legitimizing them. I want to see people challenge, like, just shut these things down, enforce what you already have. And that's what has been like kind of like this next stage of my advocacy
Mhm.
has been writing members of parliament here in Canada. Recently, I did a little campaign where I contacted every MLA that's our in our provinces, each little like section or district, there's like an elected official. And so I did that every MLA in Canada and posted that on my Instagram stories to music because often when someone sees somebody doing something, that's all it takes for them to be inspired to do something too.
Right.
Because that's what it was like for me when I left and I could see anti-MLM
Yeah.
content creators with all different perspectives, all different ways of making content. It's like I was inspired by that too, so I knew that that could help, and it has. There's been more people, writing in the States, there's senators and whoever else, and then there's some in Canada. But I believe that there needs to be a change. I mean, you can't have this go on. We'll see what happens.
It is, it's mind-boggling, I think, especially that so many of us are generally projecting, goodness in others, and we kinda believe what we've been told, and that we're not being lied to, propagandized, manipulated by organizations in which we place our trust, like government, protections or consumer protections, or and then you start digging in there and it's all politics, it's all
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, that is why it's we the people who actually
yeah,
have to put that change, because the kinds of like coercion or exploitation, I think that capitalism, unregulated capitalism, predatory capitalism as we're living it's like, well, of course, pyramid schemes are protected in the law. Like, like look at how in the bigger picture, yeah, a lot of things like that are going on. Um, so how do we raise our cultural awareness and our rage and our love to actually go change it? Right? Like we want our friends to succeed. We want like, yeah.
yeah. I believe that we need to grassroots, each person needs to do what they can. when they can. It doesn't mean that every person has to be a whistleblower of Vista,
Right.
or it doesn't mean that they need to do this huge campaign and write an email. It could just be they say no when somebody is going to try to recruit them into something. It could be that they have a conversation with a friend warning them or like, "Hey, do you wanna watch this documentary, LuLaRich, with me?" It requires people actually doing something instead of sitting on their ass and waiting for somebody else to do something, because that's generally it. I mean, there's a time and a place for, you watch something, but it really does come down to personal responsibility. So that's part of the thing that motivates me too, is just to kinda help encourage people, like, this is an all of us
Right.
problem. All of us are coexisting together.
Mhm.
You know, it doesn't take much. You can do something kind, and you know what it's like when somebody does something, just a random act of kindness out in public, somebody smiles at you, or you have some kind of really cool, just this friendly thing, and it just makes your day, and it's like that. And I believe that that kind of approach, along with a I don't wanna say coordinated, because you're dealing with a bunch of cult survivors. Last thing anybody wants to do is be told what to do or have some kind of leader. But to have some kind of just, like, contacting your elected officials
Mhm.
and challenging them, doing it respectfully, be like, "This isn't what I vote for, like, this is whatever your issue is. This is in multi-level marketing. This is clearly a scam.
Mhm.
You can't look me in the face and tell me that this endless chain recruitment scam over 99% of people have to lose is an on-ramp to entrepreneurship. You know it, I know it. What can we do about it?" That's what I believe needs to happen, just more of that.
I love that. I'm like, now I've got my script to have that conversation among the others because there's going after that organization, there's calling people out, there's calling people in, which maybe we could have another
Yes.
conversation about how even though, you make noise and kind of punch up or point out, like the other part is, yeah, really calling people in to have an awareness with the kindness and the um care and connection, right? Versus like the rejection and othering. And that's something I'm constantly navigating because I guess I have context. I'm like, I understand how we all end up in these different positions. I can see how I could have been that person. I see how
Yeah.
I could have, and yet also there's some point where I've given you the opportunity to do better. I've been direct, I've
Yeah.
called you in, and you choose to persist in doing harm. And then does that mean I can now make fun of you? Because that's what
Yeah.
I want to do now is be like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous.
It's really difficult. I think this is such a good thing to talk about, because I think it's a real personal thing, like each person's reaction and relationship to the individual, which it could just be somebody that you don't know, but you still have this way of communicating with them. And I think it's a judgment call. I don't think you can apply a standard, like, this
Mm-mm.
is how it works.
Right.
If it did, I think we could get everybody out of these cults and we wouldn't have been in them in the first place. So I think it's a unique thing. That's why I think there's this personal responsibility aspect, that we all try to do what we can, where we can. And then if you don't want to, that's fine too. Just, you don't have to.
Mhm.
But if you have, there's the smallest thing can really help. And I like how you talked about that calling in. I think it's vital to be able to have extremely uncomfortable and difficult conversations with our loved ones. There's people that have family members that are involved in cults. One of the most common questions, it's like the number one question I get, is how do I get my loved one out of a cult? How do I get them out of this? They just got recruited into this MLM. Is there a video I can send them?
Yeah,
And of course, I mean, you know the answer, right?
yeah.
And that's why I think it's so important to have some kind of there's resources where people can speak to their loved ones, because they don't want to cut them out. Going no contact for some people isn't not an option. They want to keep that relationship going. And being able to find common ground and keep that connection, and over time, when that person starts to ask questions, they have that safety net with you, that you've been able to sit there, and it can be, people can have outrageous beliefs. I really believe that, having empathy and compassion for people when we can. I could have compassion for someone and empathy with someone in a conversation, and you'd be like, "There's no way I wouldn't do it," which is great because it's like a team effort kind of thing, Same vice versa. There'd be things where I'm like, "There's just no way I can't even stand this person. It just makes my skin crawl." And you could be, "I've got
Mhm.
this."
Mhm. Ah, it's so good. There's so much more. Any last thoughts to wrap up? Anything? Yeah. Do you wanna leave people with?
Well, thank you so much,
Yeah.
first off, for having me on and all the work that you've done. It's a lot of things that go on that people don't even know about where it takes a real toll, and it takes so much courage and integrity to do what you're doing, Cara, and just thank you so much. You're seen, and I really appreciate it, and I know I don't even know the half of it. And also, I wanna kinda reiterate what every anti-MLM content creator is doing out there. It doesn't matter what social media platform they're doing, they each have their unique voices. You can, have disagreements with people, but man, they're putting themselves on the line. A lot of these people have been in MLMs themselves, they're healing. They're dealing with pushback, threats, intimidation, and yet they're still out there, and they're doing what they can. And then just finally, I guess, to anybody who is in an MLM, a multi-level marketing company, and you're working on your exit strategy, I just want to reiterate that you are enough and there was never anything wrong with your mindset. You know that. You you're fine just the way you are.
Thank you so much, Julie. We'll connect people to your links and your socials, and they can see the amazing content that you're putting out, and hopefully also be inspired to find their lane or their, one project or one conversation that, to keep that ripple going. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
Kara.
That's it for today's Fool's Gold podcast. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you come back. Bye. This episode was recorded at Access Humboldt and produced by Paxton Scarberry, Shanti Chakravarti, and John Friedman. Find us wherever you get your podcasts.